Get ready for the next battle.
Yo, what's good, people? How y'all doing out there? It's your boy M.I. Sizzle in the building. We back in here again with some more streaming. I don't know if y'all could hear this before. Y'all couldn't. Man, my shit going crazy. It's been a pretty eventful couple of days here lately. Shout out to Mike Hollow having me over there on this channel. Shout out to Shimblade, Ben T, who else is on that damn panel with me? Chad third. Appreciate y'all allowing me to come kick it with y'all for a little bit, man. It's a lot of, there's some bickering going on, some debating going on, man. All that kind of jazz. Really good, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to defend my positions and shit. You know, obviously, I realize that, at least here on YouTube, I'm gonna be on the outside of things. What's going on with crypto? I'm on the outside of the acceptable narrative around these parts, which is interesting. I mean, for me personally, I don't give a damn. I'm gonna just let you know how I feel about the shit. I'm gonna try to back it up as best I can. But we had some pretty interesting conversations. One of the conversations we were having, obviously, if you don't know, I was going so cracking codes, Tekken 8 boxes. Yeah, listen, I'm glad y'all are able to use that. And sorry I got a new episode for y'all this week, man. This is the holiday weekend. Been running, ripping and running. So I'm gonna be back on it probably not next week, probably the week beginning of the year. Have a couple more episodes, and that's gonna end the season for Cracking Code. But I'm gonna have more stuff for y'all in store anyway. Y'all know I always try to keep something going. I'm really I'll talk to y'all kind of about some of the discussion I was having. Let's go check out some of this from yesterday. Yesterday's discussion. If I can pull it up, man, you know I'll be getting lost on the goddamn internet half the damn time. Let's see. It couldn't have been too late. It was just yesterday. Okay, here we go. Tekken 8 community debate. Right? We put this over there. Other screen. Like so. We'll go down here to the browser. The browser act like it don't be knowing what the fuck we doing. Internet. There we go. We're gonna skip around a little bit in this. Say Tekken 8 can't get no worse for you. I mean, you know, it is an interesting consideration. Alright, so we had a little discussion yesterday, man. We're gonna check this out. Y'all let me know y'all can.
You want to know the math on that.
Well, I think that it probably costs quite a bit to get the character in the game, to get the licensing rights, and then how much of that is offset by people purchasing that character? Because you know the diehard Tekken fans are gonna get.
Here we out here.
Catch that. Look at that guy. Look at that guy.
There we go. Ichigo in the background too.
Yeah, go on.
Symmetry. I like it.
Can't help himself.
If y'all don't know what this is about, this is basically your boy Shinblade had made a video, and I think it was more along the lines of referencing like the fault of people of Harada leaving was because people pretty much being negative in the community, and that kind of driving folks to, or influencing folks who don't got no damn common sense to go even harder and do stupid stuff like threaten people's lives and tell people they need to, what they call it, TOS themselves, get themselves up out of here. So that was what this started off as. I came into the conversation a lot later. In fact, like 3 hours in, I was at work when they started this conversation. So we came in. I guess basically they was trying to discuss. You might hear me discuss from time to time. Normally, anytime anybody invites me on to any kind of panel, it's probably to have me be on the quote unquote defense for Tekken 8. When, I really kind of am just, I don't know if I would say I'm neutral about Tekken 8 because I like Tekken 8, but I'm fair to criticize it. And I think critique, sorry. I think critique is needed for the game. I do think that there's excessive critique of the same exact things over and over again is not something I'm particularly fond of, right? I don't think that is the best use of your time. But I mean, I guess that's kind of what this debate was on. So we can look at a little bit of this here and there. It got a little heated towards the end.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Right. I know that, Finn, you had something that you wanted to mention earlier. I don't know who it was to, though.
Okay,
about maybe 1% change, right? And I get what he was saying. He might have been incorrect about the percentage, but the percentage is nowhere near the amount that is in correlation to the response people give to it. Now, maybe you could have said at the beginning of season 2, yes, I might have been with you, right? Because there was a lot going on, a lot to absorb, a lot of changes being made. And to be fair, people in Tekken have egos. I know I'm used to be a professional player. I used to be one of the best players ever played this jump at one point in time, right? I know what it's like to have an ego and go to the next game and they change some shit and you don't really like the way that jump works because it make the game harder for you or it make it easier for somebody else. And a lot of that has to do with like how you perceive the game. A lot of it is not always the system. Sometimes it is the system. But when I hear people talk about it, like I'm a person who doesn't get a lot of backlash because my statements normally are backed up by something I will also go and show you in the training room why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Okay, so I was trying to I try to make this be how I deal with these situations, right? As best I can, because as you'll see a little bit later as I skip around, like what these kind of discussions tend to devolve down into is people trying to either get me to disagree with their opinion about how they feel about the game, which I constantly try to reiterate in comment sections or even on panels or in conversation with folks. Like, I'm not the type of person who's going to try to argue you on your opinion of something that is subjective, right? Like, I'm not, if you say you don't like the way the game feels, okay, that's cool. If you make the argument that, it feels too oppressive, you don't like that, that's not necessarily something I would necessarily argue you on. Because at the end of the day, I can't win that argument. And it's kind of a fruitless endeavor. Because why would I argue you about how you feel about something? There's no way I could tell you how you're supposed to feel about things. So yeah, my position does tend to be like, I want to argue you about things that I can verify. It doesn't normally tend to stay in that area. It tends to get into areas of theory about what the game could be, and if I was really more on my game yesterday, like about my wits, I would have just really shut that down a lot of this stuff and just said, listen, I'm not trying to argue about your opinion about the game. Right? That's not what I argue. Right? I argue that, the basic
structure of the game, Tekken, is intact with things on top of it, right? We've had my last few videos were kind of touching on this topic, which is probably why they brought me in. But some stuff in here just, I call it's for the content, but it was very wild. You said we got to accept what's going on with your cut with, accept what Tekken 8 is and adapt. I mean, I don't even say that you have to accept it. I think you can not like this game and not play it. That is my position, really. Most of the time, it's like, if you don't like it, like, don't torture yourself. You can make your critique and then, like, either make your critique and then accept that your critique has been put out there, but until it gets fixed, this is what you're going to be dealing with. And then, if, like I was saying to these people last night, like, it behooves you, if your real position is to continue to want to have the best game possible, well, then try to figure out, like, all the stuff that's a problem, bring those things up along the way. But I think a lot of the time that was getting lost in translation. I think that what they got from what I was saying is, don't critique over and over again the game. And my position is, I think it's better to critique different critiques instead of the same critique over and over again. Like, either they got the message or they don't get the message. And if it is a strong enough issue, you won't be the only person who has that critique. So I could see they probably got those lines crossed a little bit last night. I'm just going to say that they did because they kept bringing it up. Let me see. I think maybe here, when maybe Chad was talking. Let me see.
Was 99% excellent.
Like, oh man, but that was my answer to it, right?
No, it's not that I.
Here's the thing. If I tell you that I had a good day, I shouldn't have to then say I had a good day, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. So this was one thing he was addressing. One thing he was addressing was, I was talking about, I think, the something that came up. We were having a discussion, and I was saying that people are very loose. People who have influence, especially, but just in general, when it comes to the topic of Tekken not being, a good game, I guess, and trying to sway people to that belief, or maybe just stating your opinion about it. But I was saying, what I end up seeing a lot of times is that people will state an opinion as if it is factual. And then what'll happen is they'll say things sometimes that are just not factual, like that are like verifiably not the case, right? And some stuff they're not doing that on, right? I was making a very general point. Something else I learned last night, after being on the podcast or the live stream, is that it's very interesting how they work over there. It's okay to be general when they're asking you about general stuff. When you make general statements about things, that it tends to be, but are you talking about somebody on this panel? Did somebody on the panel do it? It's like, I don't know. Like, no, we're not having. Are we having a general conversation? Are we having a specific conversation to only concern the people on the panel? I thought that was pretty interesting. Once again, this is just something, like, I just kind of remember this afterwards. But nonetheless, getting back to what we were talking about here, I think what he's touching on there is that he feels that people shouldn't have to announce that it's their opinion that they're espousing. And I mean, realistically, you would hope that people are smart enough to understand that something is your opinion. But we're on the internet. We understand what we're dealing with. Everybody, this is a small stream here, right? There's 13 people in here right now. It's a possibility that 13 people in here right now are 13 people who have been rocking with me from the get-go. That's why y'all here early. You probably got the bat signal on your email or your notification bar, and you came in here. You're probably people who fully understand after watching me for so long, like what kind of person I am and like how I go about expressing things. But when you got hundreds of people, you don't know these people. I mean, I might not even know everybody that's in here, right? But if I'm certain that I don't know people and I don't want to be quote unquote labeled as a part of the problem, because I think that's what this discussion was about, because Shinblade was talking about how a lot of the content creators or the higher level players or people on Twitter, like these people who have influence are to take account for, like, when people are going at Michael Murray and Harada and telling them to kill themselves and do this, do that. I wish you would die. Cussing them out and all that stuff. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but I could understand what he was trying to get at. Maybe he didn't articulate it the best. So I think I had touched on that, and I think right now that's what Chad's touching on. It sounds a lot like the MK community. It's funny, this was MK guys, and now they done moved. Well, I know Mike is an MK guy. I don't know about everybody else, but kind of like an MK guy who done moved over to the Tekken scene. But I think he just plays fighting games in general. But it's interesting. Interesting. Let's finish here what he's talking about.
Opinion should be implied. So the idea that if I say an opinion, I shouldn't have to clarify that it's an opinion. If I go, this game is trash, assuming that we all have an IQ above 12, you know that it's an opinion, right? I'm not saying that 1 and 1 equals like 7. I'm saying this game is trash in my opinion. So that seemed pedantic. So I would put that out there. Like, I don't think people should have to disclaim their opinions when they say their opinions. Secondly, one thing you said, which was really interesting, which was that people aren't getting into the numbers, and they should have to get into numbers. And you're right. I think if you can, you should get into numbers. But I think it's entirely possible to not be able to get into the numbers and still be able to say this game feels weird. For example, if I play a character, I'm like, hey, this character feels sluggish, even if I can't tell you the actual in-frame pixel centimeter of their backdash or whatever, I can just say this character feels sluggish. And another person might go, yeah, I too think this character feels sluggish. If I am unable to articulate that with the same level of mathematical rigor as you, that doesn't mean that the opinion is automatically bad, right? A lot of what we're criticizing here aren't specific moves, it's about the game feel, right? What you keep doing, and it's understandable, is you highlight these situations that people get frustrated with, and then you go, but here are these binary options you can do to get out of it. And it's like, okay, you're right. There are things you can do to get out of it. Here's the thing. Are the options that are available to me, because games are about making choices, are the choices that are available to me as pleasurable in 8 as they would have been in 7 or in Tag or in 6? Do I enjoy the situations I'm put in, right? That is a subjective thing and a feeling. And you might say, I like the fact that I have to choose between Dick Jab and Power Crush. To me, that's Tekken. And I might go, I don't really like that. And in Tekken 7, you might still only have 2 options, but the options might be sidestep left or whatever. And I might prefer those 2 options to the 2 options I have now. That's still a valid take, right? Different games ask you to say different things. And the point is, most people who dislike this game are really, in their heart of hearts, complaining about the game feel. Every Tekken game makes demands of you. And they're saying that the demands that Tekken 8 makes of me are not as fun.
Okay, so I hear what he was saying there. I'm pretty sure I responded with this similar response here. My position is that how you feel about the game, or game feel, what he's speaking of, like, maybe the way it feels to play with a character, or the way it feels to be under pressure, the way it feels to have to deal with a mix-up.
well, you heard him pretty clearly. Like, he understands that that's subjective, but it doesn't make him wrong. And what I keep trying to explain to people is, I'm not ever going to argue. I don't know how many times I have to restate this for people to really understand what I mean by it, but I'm not here to argue you about how you feel about something. What I'm here to argue you about, if I'm going to be arguing you about anything, is when you say things that are just untrue, right? So when you say, hey, Lydia's 4-4-2 pressure is too damn strong. This chick need to be nerfed. I hate this junk. You keep getting put in this situation, there's nothing you can do about it. When I hear people make statements like that, right? And then I know for a fact that there are a couple options that you could do about it. More than just a quote unquote binary option. You have several options you can choose from, and they eliminate several of the options your opponent gets to do to you. For me, those types of comments, those are what I feel people need to preface with, this is my opinion, but they won't preface that with that is their opinion. They will preface it as no, or I'm sorry, I won't even say preface it. They will present it as if what they're saying is factual. And because so many people don't necessarily get into the numbers, so many people don't get into the practice room, so many people don't check out this information all to themselves, a lot of people kind of just go off what other people say. You know, another issue I have, another critique I have of the community that complains, right? And so, you know, I don't know if I made it clear last night that's what I was saying, but to clarify for you all, that was my perspective on what he was saying there, right? So once again, it's like, I don't really care if you don't like how it feels, right? Like, to give you an example, you know, I don't like how Mortal Kombat feels, right? So I don't play Mortal Kombat. You know, y'all know what I call it around here, Mortal Crapbat. You know what I'm saying? But that's because I don't like how it feels. I feel like the attacks don't carry no weight. The hits don't really be hitting unless you're doing like a fatality or X-ray or something. I think they've probably got a little bit better with animations, but for the most part, you know, they be looking kind of janky a lot of the times. It's not my preference of a game, right? But I don't also go in there and say like, oh, I don't like this game. The game is bad because you can't do nothing, because you can't block the ice clone when you jump in the air. Like, it's bad because the combo system is stupid. You can't do nothing about these rush down mix-ups. It's just 50-50-50. There's no way out. If I was to go say that, I don't even know if it's true or not, because I don't play the game. So I would expect that if the MK community heard me espousing that, especially if I'm a person who has influence in an area of the MK world. Oh, what's going on with you? What's going on with you? Hijack, welcome to the realm of the real. Only the real get chill. What's going on? What's going on? But yeah, you know, it's like, if I was to be a person in the MK community with influence, and then I'm espousing things like, oh man, these 50-50s are some BS. Shout out to one of the guys I know. His name is Fate, right? Y'all might not know him. He was like he's a YouTuber. If y'all in the MK world, y'all might know Fate. He kind of a little controversial and whatnot. He might even been on, I think, Mike's podcast a few times. But I remember a lot of the times I used to listen to his stuff because dude was kind of entertaining, even though I ain't played no Mortal Kombat. I would hear him talk about like defensive options, and the game don't got no defensive options. And I know this was like something he was saying. This is a long time ago. Something he was saying like, oh, the defensive options is not there. Kind of reminiscent of what I hear people talk about
in Tekken 8. Not everybody, but I do hear people say this, like, oh, the game doesn't have good defensive options. That was something that was going on for a long time. Maybe people don't remember that, but I mean, I remember that from way back in season 1, and I still hear it now. You know, people will say like, oh, it's a brain dead ass game, this, that, and the third. And it's like, oh, well, that is just simply not true, right? It's just simply not true. And in his case, with the Mortal Kombat thing, he was having some issue with like up block, or like how he was saying it was stupid or not useful. And you know, he caught a lot of flack for it because he had a lot of quote unquote influence in a sector of the MK community. You know, I think it was like the casual, because he's like a casual player. He wasn't like a tournament player or anything. But I saw like how it had an effect. And I saw how people in this chat were also like, oh man, yeah, man, you know, this is some BS, man, the game ain't good. And you know, every once in a while, there might be somebody who's in there out of curiosity, might be a more knowledgeable player at the time. It's like, oh yeah, no, you know, it's actually not the case. It's actually a good tool, this, that, and the third. And you know, at the time, he would just dismiss it, right? This is what I see a lot in our community, which I'm not used to seeing this junk in the Tekken community. I'm used to people complaining. Like, I didn't complain about Tekken. I'll complain about Tekken. That's not something I think is off the table. But what I kind of recognize in this community that I'm seeing currently is like there are people who have drawn lines in the sand, and there is not they'll tell you if things get better, they'll come back to it. But really, they decided to be on one side of a line, and they're just beholden to that. So much so that it's like there's really nothing would ever make you happy. They'll literally start trying to find ways to not like enjoy things about the game. You know, you might present them with information, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's bullshit. That's rubbish. I still think the game is trash." And it's kind of like you can't, like, it's almost like I don't know what you want in that situation. You know, you'll say, we'll just get into it, but that was to that point that he was making there. We ain't gonna stay on that all damn day, because I'm pretty sure a lot of these points get rehashed over and over again, and I don't even know why, because I've been answering these questions already. But
not as pleasurable, not as enjoyable as the Tekken games proceeding, right? That's a valid take that you can make. And so as a community, you have an
do a patch, and you can now
how many people agree with this? If there is a large enough number of people that agree with us, let's keep making noise. Let's keep making noise. Let's keep trying to get them to move, because this game is a game's a service. Season 4, let's keep how much have enough at the hands of you, and they're saying that the demand really in their heart of hearts complaining about the game feel. Every Tekken game makes as the Tekken games proceeding, right? That's a valid take that you can make. And so as a community, you have an option. You can either say, well, that's Tekken, so we're just going to play it, or you can just be like, it's scrap, I'm going to leave. Or you can do the third option, which is like, okay, step 1, how many people agree with this? If there is a large enough number of people that agree with us, let's keep making noise. Let's keep making noise. Let's keep trying to get them to move, because this game is a game's a service. Season 4, if there is one, won't look the same as season 1 and season 2. So actually, constantly complaining about things you don't like are the most likely path to getting the game where you want it to. That's the virtue of constantly complaining, right? So when you say why you keep constantly saying the same thing, because they haven't changed it yet. When I change it, I'll stop complaining, right? Or if
Chop, what's going on with your Chizop? What's going on with your Chop? Okay, yeah, to this point, he was making, I guess his position basically was, you want to enact change, invoke change. Nothing much, Chop, nothing much. He's saying if you want to invoke change, then, you know, that is a way to do so, is play the game and continuously complain about it. And like I said earlier, I think that, well, I know for a fact, because this was yesterday, so I know for a fact that they obviously just weren't getting my point. Like, I don't care about you complaining, you know. I just think that you just shouldn't complain about the exact same thing. if your real goal is, you know, to make the best game possible, like if you think your complaints are going to get you somewhere, then complain about as much stuff as you can find that is verifiably wrong with the game, as opposed to making a critique of the same shit over and over again. Like they're either listening to you or they're not listening to you. You know, that's just kind of my position. As opposed to like, and when I'm saying that, I'm not saying different people making the same complaint, because I think that's also what they were taking as my position. Like if somebody says, "Hey man, Heat has too many plus frames on, you know, heat engager," and then somebody else says, "Yeah man, Heat has too many plus frames on heat engager," and like there's 100 people with that same opinion, I do think it's wise for each of the 100 people to say that opinion, especially when the creators of the game have something like T8 report or telling you like, "Hey, we want feedback." Where I think they misconstrued my point, and I think I clarified it, but because it got asked so many times, and I guess it just never got clarified that this is my position. That really, when it comes to you, a single person making the same claim over and over again, I just find that to be fruitless, right? It's just, you know, it's kind of like, bro, find something else to complain about, or just like, you've already filed your complaint, you don't see it changing this far, then just stop playing it until they make your complaint, they show you that your complaint is valid, and that they'll fix it. Or, you know, it's like, I just don't think that that's the best way to go about it. It's not the most useful, but I mean, that's just my perception on that. Let's see what's going on in chat. Make a critique of the game, move on. That will force them to change, but stop engaging with it. I did present that yesterday. I do believe it's very difficult for a business to look at you with any kind of care about what you're saying if you're pumping the product with attention, which is their biggest, like the biggest thing they can get from you is your money and your attention, right? If you're giving them the attention that they're seeking, you know, unless it gets to a boiling point where the number of people is starting to affect their reputation, which is what kind of happened at the beginning of season 2, duly needed, because I think the majority of people were not happy with it. Right? But that's not what I kind of am talking about at the current state. In the current state, it seems like there's just a loud section of the community that they're not even all on the same page. That's what's killing me. It's like the things that y'all say y'all don't like, some of it, a lot of it that I hear is like, I don't want to call it nonsense because that's dismissive, but it's not. Like I said, they act like it's rooted in fact, but it's not rooted in fact. It's just your opinion. In which case, it's kind of like you might be asking for something that already exists. Sometimes I think something that happened in Tekken, and I brought this up last night, but I don't think we stayed on any point in time for too long. I actually heard Red related, shout out to Red. I was in his stream, he was talking about it, or maybe he was talking about it on a video or something. He made a great point about the heat engagers and why armor moves had heat engagers. And he was spot on with it. Like, when you think about the aggressive nature of this game, back when the game came out, we did think to ourselves, like, man, you got these heat engagers off of armor moves. This is so stupid. Folks, you can't do nothing. Folks is doing armor moves and getting heat engagers. But because we had so little time with the game itself and understanding the game,
and it was such a foreign concept. It looked so overpowered. Rather than have them restructure it and say, what's a better way to implement heat engager power crushes in the game? Hey, why don't we put them on moves that are punishable? You know, instead of making them be safe moves that are not punishable and lead to heat engagers and their armor moves, right? Rather than go from that step down to the more sensible step, we just asked for them to get them all the way up out of here. But now, later in the game, we are complaining about not being useful to do things like a power crush to get out of certain frame situations, which, to be fair, in season 1, they didn't really have the frame set up. Like, whoever was on that balancing team on season 1 going into season 2, they weren't very familiar with the Tekken system, it didn't seem. Because even I would agree back then that a lot of the aspects of Tekken that I say still exist in this current iteration of Tekken, at this particular time, they hadn't had it well thought out at that point, right? At this point in time, they pretty much got through most of those situations. Some situations I still have some gripes about. Y'all will hear me talk about the Eddie 443. You know, there's some risk reward issues in this game, but for the most part, they got that stuff up out of here. But I'm saying all that to say, there was a point where one of the retaliatory ways to put pause on your opponent from trying to go for certain things, or at least to make it a useful mix-up, was to give you that armor move with the power crush with the heat engager on it. Because once you put me into a 50-50, let's say if I'm playing what's her damn name, Lydia, and she does 4-4-2, if she wants to transition into her stance and do a mix-up out of it, she, instead of me just low jabbing her or playing the defensive option of stepping, I could have also done my armor move, which would not have cost me life, because I would have kicked through the move and got my health back and been on the defensive and have switched the tide. But because we didn't give the game enough time to like really develop, and we're so ready to jump to the shock value of like, oh man, this is just way too overpowered, which to be logical, it was overpowered in its inception. But rather than redefine it, we just chose to push them to take it out the game. And now people who are having complaints about the offense being too much don't have those options. Now, you might say everybody didn't have that option. And maybe the solution might have been, how about you give people an unsafe power crush that has a heat engager? This will be a good retaliatory option against the heavy mix-ups, since this is a game that punishes your inactivity by making you eat a whole bunch of heavy mix-ups. And in that scenario, you can have a fighting chance other than just playing a defensive game, or, you know, risking your life with a low jab or whatever the counter is, a standing jab, whatever it might be. Like, that was something that I don't think a lot of the player base thought about why it was designed that way. Can't say everybody didn't think about it, why it was designed that way. Obviously, some people did. Obviously, like I said, Red related. He's the one who I heard even talking about this. And it's like, yeah, you know what? That makes plenty of sense why you would have that in the game, right? Because it is a defensive option based on how they want this game to be played. But I say all that to just say, a lot of the times I think we like to jump the gun in this community, especially in the current community. Really, I come from a time in Tekken where like the game you got was just the game you got. You just figured out how to, you just figured out how to get around that jump, right? So I guess that gives me a different kind of viewpoint as well, because it's like, I mean, shoot, it was way worse than this in past Tekkens. Like,
You're just dealing with having to be mixed up a lot. But there was game where that junk was just some cheating junk. Like, it was just cheating, and there was never going to be a patch for it. You played it and got good at it. And I mean, I guess that's not realistic for today's standards, because today's standards, you can patch it. And so the consumer base has a different perspective on like what a game it should be and what to expect out of a game. But you know, that's that portion. I think this might be the end of what he's saying, because I think I was getting ready.
Let's say 90% of the player base actually go, Chad, you're fucking wrong. We love this. Then I'll stop complaining and I'll just leave. Because at that point, it's clear that I'm in the minority. And that what I want is a different game. I need to go play Virtua Fighter. I need to go play Street Fighter. I need to go whatever. But the thing is, there's a lot of people who agree with us. So actually, we need to keep making noise, keep trying to move it in our direction. But at the same time, Mike, if you like this game, you have to do the opposite. You have to be like, no, I like only being able to power crush. I like being able to dick jab. And we're going to have like a sort of culture war in the scene. And that's valid. But I hope you lose. And you have to hope I lose, right? But what you can do is be like, you don't get the right to make these claims. Like, actually, I do. I constantly do. And I hope I win, right? But if your side wins and it stays the sort of shit show that it is, or what I consider to be a shit show, in my opinion, then I'll walk away. But until the war is over, I'm going to keep fighting it, because there's a part of me that would like season 3 or season 4 or season 5 of this game to be the Tekken game that I was waiting for when it first came out. I really want that to be a thing. So yeah, you can't just say not to complain. And yeah, those are my 3 points. I'm done.
I don't disagree. Okay, so there I just explained to him that I wasn't really disagreeing with what he was saying. They just didn't. I guess maybe I didn't articulate myself in a way that they could understand. I think Shinblade was saying something. I don't really have no timestamps. We just going through this junk. You know, normally I don't even do this, but it's, you know, ain't got nothing else to do. Let me look in the chat, see what y'all talking about for a little bit before we get to the next topic. All right, so let's see. As a scrub, I felt a bit offended from Finn's demeanor, but I understand. It's not about how you feel though, Jack. Let's get into it. Finn would never be happy with that. Finn is alright, man. Listen, I talked to Finn outside of this junk, and you know, while we did get a little contentious at the end, because I think I don't know if it's his personal character or if it's his online persona, but you know, in either event, it got a little out of line, so it had to be checked a little bit. But for the most part, it's kind of like, hey man, it's WWF as far as I'm concerned. Like, I know you're coming here to be contentious. That's your thing. So you know, Finn is pretty cool. Finn all right. Players like Finn want a Korean backdash down for a 2 the whole game. That's taking to him. They want Tekken 7. And Tekken 7 is right there. Yeah, their argument might be that they don't want Tekken 7. You know, I think I asked them, like, what do they like about Tekken 8? You know, most of the answers was kind of weak. To my standard, I think it was kind of weak. It was kind of like, I'm gonna just come up with something that I like. But you know, that actually is just my opinion. If I could find it, I'll let y'all hear what they said. You can make your own judgment about it. Finn just another delusional. No, I don't think that's jealousy. Oh, that's a pretty good name, jealousy. I don't think Finn is delusional. I think the character that you all get to see on stream may come across that way, but like I said, I didn't had not a heart to heart, but like we had like a sit down behind scenes and kind of went into the game. We talked about stuff like the kind of way that I like to talk about the game. We actually did that off stream. And like I said, he had some valid critiques. He's not the type of person who's going to say something and not be able to back it up from a game perspective, right? So I respect that about him. Most of his stuff that he has an issue with, it's like, okay, I see why it's a valid issue there. Then it convenes over into like, is there no answer or do you not like the answer? And then I think when he gets to not liking the answer, where most people, like where me, if I don't like the answer, it's just like, okay, I resonate with not liking the answer. he gets hyper vigilant about not liking the answer. That's just kind of, like I said, that's either his character or that's his character. I don't know which one it is yet. Future Self says, I'm glad I found out about you from the stream. I'm glad you're here, big dog. I'm glad you're here. I hope you learned something. Go check out Cracking the Code, get you some knowledge in. Ben came across as elitist, and that's not the way. Like I said, that's just his character. You know, that's kind of like, well, I don't know, Chop. Chop actually is a wild boy, but you know, Chop, when he's playing the game, he's a super amped up guy. But Chop also can be a calm, cool person, especially when I'm whooping that ass. I got to get back to that. You've been tearing me up here lately. Let's see. Past life. Make a critique of the game and move on. Okay, we got through that one. This I keep telling people stop saying the same thing. They won't stop logging in though. That's because they, whether they want to say it or not, they like enough about this game that it keeps them around. That's something we talked about too. I might find that because, you know, I guess they were swearing up and down people don't say that, or people don't do that. And it's like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I see this junk in chats all up and down the stream. I see people do it all up and down on Twitter. I see it in people live streams. I'll go to somebody's video, they hating the game, then I go to their live stream and they talking about they love the game, then they turn it right back around and talking about they hate the game. And I see them playing this junk every goddamn day. Like, it's like, man, these people are just saying anything. Okay, at some point you just have to accept their vision. You talking about the game? Sometimes, or like I said, or you could just walk away. I think that you have options. So if Namco wants it to be a certain way, complaining for the next 3 years, to change it is futile to an extent. I think there are some things that, you know, we have to. I try to be rational about it. Namco is not the type of company, at least the Tekken project. I can't say Namco overall. The Tekken project is not really the type of company to just sit by and not do nothing that the community asks, right? I wouldn't put that on the Tekken project or Namco. In the short period of time that we've had a, you know, I guess you call it like a live service type game, or a game that had constant updates and patches, Namco or the Tekken project, they have shown a propensity to show reception to what people might find as legitimate complaints. Like when Kazuya in Tekken 7, when they was talking about giving him that home, no, they gave it to him. Gave him like a home in hell sweep or some junk. The community was not feeling it. Everybody was like, hell no. And it was to a point that it was going to affect the reputation. They hurry up and got that junk out of there. When there are bugs, this is another thing that you'll know. This is how you kind of know, like, when Namco wants you or when the Tekken project, there's a difference between when they don't intend for something to be some way versus when they intend on something being some way and they want to give you time to really sit with it before they acquiesce to your complaints, right? Things like when they have bugs, that's why a lot of them patches are bug fixes, right? Some of them come real fast. Like I remember in Tekken 7, Lars had like a 12 frame launcher, like for like a day, maybe 3 days, 4 days. They hurry up and got that junk out of there super fast. They emergency patched that junk right up out of there. I don't think it never made it to a tournament or nothing, right? But what didn't happen is when they dropped Leroy, I don't know how fast they dropped Leroy and it went to a tournament. I don't think it had to be like less than a month. There was a major tournament. I can't remember when that Evo Japan went down, but they didn't really change him too much, even though people was calling him cheap. Even though everybody was like, hold on, man, this junk kind of easy. This is some dumb junk. Why this man got these moves? You know, why has he got a 12 frame launcher? Counter hit launcher that's mid, safe. Like, this junk don't make no damn sense. People were making the complaints, but Namco didn't hurry up and change it because they were trying to. We see what was happening. They were gathering intel for the game that we got now, and they was trying to see, like, you know, how will people deal with these situations, being put in these heavy frame situations off this low kick to this punch, and now you just got to make a kind of guess. All right, that was T8 before we got to T8. That was already here. We just didn't know what we was getting set up by, but that was kind of what was happening already. And in that scenario, and what's been interesting is I don't think a lot of us in the community think about it from any perspective other than the perspective that of the game that we are trying to play, right? And I guess you can say rightfully so. I'm paying my money. I want to play the game I want to play. But there has to be some respect for what the developer puts in front of you, and at least delving into the game that they've provided for you to play before automatically trying to jump to the game that you want it to be. I think I see a lot of that happening a lot of the times where it's kind of like, man, you haven't even delved into the game to really make those complaints. And that's not everybody, obviously. There are people who delve into the game, and those are the people that tend to have legitimate complaints. Those are the people who tend to find the bugs. Those are the people that tend to find the unbalanced risk to reward ratios, right? Those are the people who are really in there. But that amount of people is this when the comparison of the loud people that surround them that echo a similar opinion but don't have the information that the person with legitimate opinion has. They're just going off the quote unquote vibes of the sector. There's way more of them, right? And I could imagine, like, if I'm a developer, you know, and in fact, I made a card game before. Y'all might not know this. I made a card game when I was in high school. Somebody broke in my house, stole my PlayStation. So I got some poster board, and y'all know this. Y'all might not know this, but you know, I draw, I do music, I do all kind of art stuff. And so I had a little comic book company when I was younger. And what I did was kind of model a comic book game after Pokemon, but it had all of my characters and all these moves. And I don't know if y'all ever played Pokemon, but I actually didn't really play it, but I kind of modeled a game after it a little bit, right? And they got to a point where I start making characters for people. Like, you could pay me in any character you want. You want me to make Incredible Hulk? I'll make Incredible Hulk, but I'm gonna do the balancing because I understand how the game works. I know what game I made the game, so I know what the bounds of reasonable gameplay is. When I give you your card, you just tell me, like, what you want the character to do, how you want the character to look, what kind of character you want it to be, and, you know, give me 2 or 3 moves, right? And then I'm gonna decide how to balance the character, because you don't understand you might understand the balance of the game, but you might not be reasonable because you want Incredible Hulk to be the cheapest shit alive, right? That's kind of where we are as the consumer a lot of the times. Like, we want this shit to be better looking Tekken 7. So I'm going to complain to you that this shit is not like Tekken 7. But you as the developer, you may say to yourself, well, I mean, the stuff you could do in Tekken 7 is still there. So you could still play it like Tekken 7, kind of, but I don't really want you to play Tekken 7. If I wanted you to play Tekken 7, I would give you Tekken 7. Like, I want you to try out this new game and delve into the new game, the new mechanics, the new functionality that we're going to put here. And I want you to try to make the best assessment of what I'm giving you. And like I said, there are people who legitimately do that and they find issue and take issue.
But more often than not, it's just a lot of people jumping on a bandwagon and they don't even know the direction that bandwagon is going, other than it might be, popular, or maybe their favorite person has this opinion. And you could argue it works both ways. You could argue that I influence people to give the game a try when they're already writing it off, and make them try to look at it a different way. But I do that because, I find it to be more fruitful if you're going to be playing the game. Like, if you're going to play the game, I would rather teach you something to try to maybe ease your mind and make you see it differently, so that you can have an appreciation for the game, than to tell you to keep playing the game that you keep telling me you hate. Because I'm going to be like, why are you stressing yourself out? This is stupid. Like, you're going to give yourself gray hair, all kind of build up in your heart until that motherfucker explode. You're going to catch a stroke in your head because you're stressing yourself out so much so over this game that you say you don't like. Like, I would never tell somebody to go with that. But that's just me personally. That's kind of how I view that. Let's keep going down here. Look at these top, what y'all saying in this chat. Wrong thing. Okay. You're just building a platform to generate views by hating on that game. That some people probably do that. Can't wait to see season 3 guest character. I really hope it's the SNK character. That's interesting. I do think. What do y'all think about guest characters? Y'all throw that in the chat. Tell me what guest characters you might want to see. It might be a while before I get to that portion, so we'll probably come back to this, because y'all know how it be in my chat. I'll be way behind. Next thing I know, it'll be an hour later. I'm just not getting to your damn message. So drop y'all favorite DLC characters. Some wilds here. Give me your wild one. Okay, give me 2 characters. Give me your wild one and then your practical one. All right. Let's see, Jumanji Mike. Do you know much about fixing mics for the PC? You have audio, but your mic won't work. What kind of mic is it, Jumanji? Is it like a USB mic? Is it I guess maybe you'll answer that and then I'll get back to you with that. I miss Raven's Power Crush heat engager. Okay, we got facts. Slick Sinister's people have selective memory. That is true. But Tekken did get patches. We just didn't get many. You mean patches as far as Tekken 5? Okay, I see what you're saying down here. Yeah, Tekken 5.0 to 5.1 to DR. I guess what I'm saying with that, Slick Sinister, is like, we got patches, but the patches, like, those are arcade patches. But Tekken 5, until DR came out on PS3, Tekken 5 was just Tekken 5. You know what I'm saying? Like, there wasn't a Tekken 5 version 1.67, then 1.62. Like, they did that in the arcade. And a lot of the times that kind of is what happened, is they did a lot of the patching in the arcade. But when it came to the home console, you pretty much got the game that you was going to get. DR was kind of like a special case, really. It's probably the only time I can think of a Tekken that came out at the home console, and then like another version of that same Tekken came out on the home console. I know they have like version A and B of like Tekken Tag 2, not Tekken Tag, but Tekken 2 and Tekken 1 and Tekken 3. But I think them are like arcade versions, if I'm not mistaken. But I think DR is the only time there's been like we got Tekken number, and then we got like Tekken number Street Fighter Super. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tekken doesn't really do that too much on the home console. We normally get that done in the arcade, which is kind of one of the big things they talked about when it came to this Tekken 8. It's like, oh, we are used to having like a probation period in the arcade scene,
So to like come here and just like we play tested it, you know, but it ain't the same as having that junk for like a year or two, and people could just play that junk nonstop long as they got quarters, and you getting all that information. Like you might have ended up with season 2 at the beginning of season 1, or you might end up with what we hope season 3 is, as what Tekken 8 started off on in the home console, if they had that long period that they were accustomed to, which is something, you know, I I don't be wanting to sound like I'm trying to give them um too much chain for their leash, because some of that shit they be doing is out of pocket. And like I said, I have my reservations about maybe some of the practices, or you know, some of the questionable stuff that they do, um, both in system mechanics and outside of the game itself. But I do think that if we're going to be fair, this is the first. No, Tekken 7 is the only time we really got like in-game patches, where you know we actually started getting like basically Super Street Fighter Tekken. You know, like season 3 and Tekken 7 was almost not like a whole new game, but it was almost like a new version. It was the DR version basically of Tekken 7. Um, let's see, season 3 going to pop regardless in your opinion. Tekken 7 is right there. It's quite the point, bro. Okay, I can dig it. People all the time are like that. Oh, I don't know what you was discussing right there. I just discovered the tech community recently, and it's very passionate and entertaining. Yeah, this is a game, Weirdo Shrine, that is a very passionate game. People are, listen, we've been theory fighting. I theory fight with my homeboys all the time. These folks been trying to tell me King cheap since Tekken 5. I just keep telling them, no, I'm just better than you, nigga. That's all that is. That's all that is. I'm just whooping your ass. It ain't that King cheap. Ain't nobody else doing it. It's about 2 good King players in all of America. You talking about some, maybe it might have been about 4. Like, it's about 4 or 5 good King players in all of America. You talking about this junk cheap. You just getting your ass whooped. You ain't losing to no other Kings. But, you know, that was back in the day. You know, that was way back in the day. It says, he said, you're very knowledgeable and my game is improved with some basic movement. I'm glad you've been able to take the crack in the code and apply it. I hope that everybody really applies it. Even if it don't change your outlook on the game, I think it'll just make you better at the game, you know, which ultimately I think will automatically change your outlook, because you might not have the same frustrations that you would normally run into. Spicy Punk Rocker. Okay, you talking to Jumanji. What's going on? Shout out to you, Spicy Punk Rocker. Most TA players know how to use 2 characters max. Then they have solid opinions about on the entire roster. Yeah, you know, I can feel that. I don't think you necessarily have to play extra characters to have a solid understanding of the roster, but I do think like you need to have, you know, some kind of basic knowledge of each character before you make assertions about them, which is why you don't hear me say a lot of character specific stuff, because in this game, you know, I'm always open to be shown something new. Like I said, when me and Fent had that discussion on the phone, like he was showing me some situations like, you know, oh, you know, I really didn't know about that. But I also was able to find out that stuff and pretty much kind of come to like, oh, well, this is a scenario that you could do to make him have to guess. Except for one thing. I think one thing with random, like you just had to eat it. How did I know you got your voice? Okay. So you still play Tekken Jumanji? Okay. Goku. Okay, so we got the Crypto God. Crypto God says Goku or Rock Howard. I've been hearing this Goku. Shout out to Moon. I know he brings it up from time to time. I think that would be. I have a lot of faith in the Tekken developers being able to implement any character into Tekken and making them feel right. After Tekken 7, they've shown me pretty much like they probably could put anybody in this game and it's gonna be Tekken. Like they even put Akuma in the game, and I know he's not like doesn't feel Tekken, like he doesn't do a whole bunch of like down forward one standard down forward. But what I mean is like he didn't feel like he was out of place in the way, what would be something I could describe where you may, okay, I'll give you a great example. If you've ever played CVS, right? CVS is a very well made game. But if you own, oh, no. Got a better idea. You ever heard of a game called Capcom Fighting Evolution or some junk like that, right? Where they literally have characters come from different games with completely different systems. And this junk just don't even really mesh that well. Like it's just very, very, it was very poor design of a game. Like Akuma didn't feel like that in Tekken 7. He just felt like, man, he just doing shit we ain't never seen on Tekken. But like you could still kind of confine, he still wasn't confined into the Tekken world. They implemented him as best you could while keeping him feeling like he was a Street Fighter character. They did another good job with Geese doing that. You know, I don't know much about Final Fantasy, so I don't know how much Noctis was faithful to his adaptation. But even Negan, like, you know how weird of a pick Negan was to me? I was like, I don't even know who the hell that is. Now come to find out it's a real, like, nigga, you're a real actor. Like, what the fuck are you doing on the game? But you know what? Outside of his eyes always looking crazy to me, like, it was very awkward to have like a realistic proportion person in Tekken who is a model after a real person and then see him in Tekken. That was kind of weird. It's kind of eerie. What they call it, the uncanny valley. But outside of that, like once I seen that they made all of that junk work, I'm a believer. That made me a believer in Tekken vs Street Fighter. I know other people don't want to play that junk, but I'm very interested in seeing what that'd be like. That's two of my favorite fighting franchises going at it. And now that they show me that they could do it and make it a working game, you know, question balance, I think, to be fair, this has always been my position. We can't look at Akuma and Geese, characters that are cheap in their own fucking games, as like, this is what it would be like if you had Guile and Ryu on here. Like, Guile, what Guile gonna do? You can throw sonic booms and come over there and do like unsafe ass forward hard punch. You gonna duck that shit and kill the hell out of his ass. But you know, in any event, that's just that is of my opinion. Let's see, we got Evil Ryu, Inuyasha. I don't know much about Inuyasha, but I think that still goes in the same vein of like Goku. I think that, you know, they could probably make it work. I think Inuyasha got a sword. We got people who got swords already. That really is not that crazy of an idea. One thing I know Moon would probably say is he likes the Goku pick because it will bring a lot of eyes to Tekken, which would boost the sales, which would help the rep of the game, have more, the player base would increase. I think that is another side of those guest characters that we as the players, we don't really think about too much, right? Like, let's be fair. For all of us who hated Akuma and the 2D characters, if we're going to be real, that was part of the reason Tekken 7 was successful, right? Even though a lot of people ain't play Akuma, like, people knowing Akuma was in the game got them interested in Tekken, right? I knew some people who only played Street Fighter and they only played Tekken 7. They only played Akuma, and then they played Geese when it came out. And, you know, I know some King of Fire people that jumped on the Geese, but they kind of was already playing Tekken. So, you know, you got to think about the appeal of the character as well, right? Like, if you go put, like, okay, if you put Ippo, the boxer anime, I love Ippo, the boxer. Well, I like the anime. It's one of the few animes I like that I watched, right? But if you go put him in here, like a lot of what's his name? A lot of people ain't even gonna know who the fuck that is. Ippo Hapajami or whatever his name was. Like they gonna be like, who the fuck is this boxing motherfucker, right? But if you put Little Mac from Nintendo in here, have him square off against Steve Fox, now you got a whole bunch of people who play Smash Brothers who might be interested in Tekken. I don't know that that'll necessarily be the case, but you would have a better chance of pulling in a new crowd with Mac than you are with Ippo. Even though Ippo might be the cooler character, you do have to kind of consider that kind of stuff when you think about guest characters, because you got to remember, like, if you're getting a guest character, you have to buy the license for this character, and you have to pay the development costs to develop the character. And the best way to get your money back is for this character to be a popular character so that people come over there and spend their money for it, right? That's why you get Ryu and Ken and Chun-Li as the main guest characters in any other fighting game or any other game when it concerns Street Fighter, because those are the popular characters. Let you put fucking Remy from Third Strike in fucking King of Fighters. Ain't nobody going to fucking play that shit. Not because of Remy. They was already going to play that jump. They was just going to play that jump regardless. Ain't nobody going to play no damn... You put 12 or Sean and damn... Put Sean in damn Guilty Gear. Ain't nobody gonna come play that motherfucking game. Oh man, they got Sean from Street Fighter. Oh, this is fire. No, ain't nobody gonna say that shit. What the fuck you put him in there? And sometimes it don't even work out for you because maybe the franchise just ain't popular enough, right? I think they put a lot of characters, like they put the For Honor character in them Samurai Showdown, but I don't really know what happened with that jump. Maybe people just didn't like Samurai Showdown, but I don't remember that For Honor character raising the stakes of Samurai Showdown that much. So, you know, it is what it is. That's kind of why you see stuff like that. So, let's see what we got. It's a 3.5 Jack. You got a 3.5 back. I don't know. You might have to just hit me on the phone. We'll talk about it tomorrow because I don't really know how to give you that technical support right here in the middle of the stream. But I mean, that sounds like you just need to plug that motherfucker in. I don't know. Maybe you're plugging it in the wrong spot, or maybe something wrong with the cord. Let's see. Guest character should be a monster. I don't blame you, Jumanji. You get it. But if people are enjoying it, I think that's awesome. Okay. Could imagine traveling, compete in this game. I've done it small something. Okay, so these two talking to each other. Kuma or Eliza, because their style fits T8 more in Marta. Okay. So we got another Akuma. I would say Akuma would probably be frustrating for folks, but I think if I had to choose between Akuma and Eliza, I would choose Akuma for that reason I brought up earlier, that it just would bring more eyes. Like, more people care about Akuma than people even know who Eliza is, right? And then Marta, you know, it's a fan favorite. I can see that. With that dude, this long so okay, they still going at it. Eliza was a decent character. Yeah, Eliza was a decent character. I just don't think she's popular enough that when she comes on the game, unless you're gonna put her on the game and just have her titties hanging all the way out and giving her some big old ass cheeks, like Marizu. Not only is she a new character, but she got them titties jumping and jiggling. That's definitely got a lot of, you know, cosplayers is out now. They showing up and showing out, you know, so that's gonna get the gooners jumping. Now the gooners want to know what the hell this character coming from. Once they see the gooners on it, then they're gonna start hitting you with the Rule 34s. Who knows where it goes from there? I don't even want to see your search history, big dog. All right, let's see. Can't wait to see you hang out, man. Okay, so they still going at it. All right. You said King is cheap though. Hey, listen, man. I don't know about all that. All right, King ain't never been. Well, I can't say that. Tekken 1, maybe Tekken 2. Was he top tier in Tekken 3? He might have been in Tekken 3, but I don't think so. Oh yeah, so he had some kind of cheating shit in Tekken 3. But you know, Tekken 1, Tekken 2, King was cheap. King been like upper mid tier in every game except for 6. I think he was just mid tier. And tag, I don't know where the hell he was at because I ain't play that. Let's see. Remove the hit confirmed from King's down 4-2-1. Your only complaint. I don't understand why people are complaining about it. He had this junk since Tekken 5 DR. They've been doing the same thing, working the same way. If anything, my my particular idea is just make it where he don't get no full combo. Like, make it where he can only get a full combo if he use a resource. Like, make it, because what that was generally was supposed to be a counter hit tool into a little Oki hit so that you tech roll into the crouch dash mix up. That's what that is used for. That's what it was supposed to be used for. But in Tekken 6, they gave him down forward 4-3, which allowed him to pick up, but only in certain situations, like when he knocked you down by the wall, he could get a pickup in a real combo. And then I don't know what was going on tag, so I ain't gonna try to talk about tag. But then Tekken 7, hey, that boy Lil Majin found some tech. And he made what was happening on the wall and damn Tekken 6 happen in the middle of the screen. And they didn't take the junk out. But then on Tekken 8, they took the knuckle bomb out, but then they just made it where you could just do the combo on everybody. So, well, I guess you could do the combo on everybody in Tekken 7 too. So I look at that and it's like, they intended for it to be like that. I don't know if I necessarily agree that you need to get a full combo. I don't think you should be able to like sidestep, jab, and get running power bomb. I mean, are there worse things on the game than that? Surely. But I don't think you should be able to do that. I think the tool should be a counter hit move into Oki setups, because King's mix up only really comes off a tech roll or Oki situations. He can't really mix you up. He never has enough frames to go for his mix up in any other scenario, except when he hits you with armor move 2. He can go for his mix ups. Let me see. Playing you made you better. I appreciate that, Spicy. I always have a good time playing a fellow King player. Cam used to go toe to toe with me. Mike, he's a real solid Tekken player. Oh yeah, I know he's a solid player. I play him. Say you've been friends for years. That's good. Every time he goes in the heat, he transforms. You know, you talking about that boy King. Hey man, listen, I'm gonna show y'all how to deal with King one of these days, man. Cause y'all be out here acting like this man is cheap. And I'll be like, man, I don't be feeling it when I fight against King. Oh, maybe it's because I'm playing with King. Maybe that might be the argument. What's going on with your Enigma? What's happening with your player? Jumanji, thanks to you, I can beat 95% of the Yoshi players fight. Okay. They back over there hollering at each other. Fighting Evolution makes no sense. You talking about that game? Yeah, that game was I don't know what they was thinking about with that game. That game was a little wild. Said Negan played Tekken though. Yeah, he did play Tekken. I'm just saying, like, I would have never thought he should be in a that was like, okay, you brought the Street Fighter character over, and it was like, okay, I never thought I would see this, but there was talks of this going on, so it's cool to see it in action, right? Yeah, it blew my mind when I first saw it, but like, you know, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see this happening, see this working. Noctis came into the game. I don't know when did Noctis come into the game. You see it season 2 or season 3. I can't really remember, but Noctis coming into the game, I was like, man, I don't even know nothing about no damn Final Fantasy, so this is awkward to me. I don't know, like I don't know if this character fits into this game because I don't know his personality. I don't know nothing about Final Fantasy. Does Final Fantasy fight like Tekken? Like, I remember they did have that game. Was it Energies or Energies or some shit like that? Energies. That was like a kind of like a not a platform fighter, like kind of like an arena fighter, like Power Stone, but it kind of also was like Tekken or like Tobal or something like that. So I was like, well, maybe he's like from that fighting game or something. I just didn't know what the fuck he was. And then when they brought Geese into the game, it's like, all right, well, we already got Akuma. So this makes sense. Like, oh, okay, well, shit, just give us all of the damn 2D boss battle characters. But Negan, nigga, that's like getting, like, what if they just had like Denzel Washington from The Equalizer in this game? Like, they just was like, why the fuck is Negan in here? Like, what if we just go get Samuel L. Jackson, Mace Windu? Like, well, at least Mace Windu was a fighter. It was just kind of, it was awkward when I saw it. It's like, I didn't know who he was. Imagine they get that nigga from damn Breaking Bad and put him, Walter, is that his name? Get that boy Walter from Breaking Bad, put him in the damn game. It started being like, oh, so y'all just gonna do whatever the hell you want to do. Y'all wilding, but they made it work. They made it work so much so that I looked at him as like a regular Tekken character on the Tekken screen, except when I looked at him because he looked crazy. Kuma was amazing. T7, best Street Fighter game design yet. Yeah, I think Akuma was well designed. You want to play Tekken at Street Fighter, would like to see it. Your team would be Raven and Ken. I would love to see Tekken vs Street Fighter, even if it's not a tag game. Like, just now that I really see that Tekken knows how to do it. Like, and it's the other portion of Tekken 8 that I have an appreciation for. There's some people it's not their cup of tea, but like, I really had this appreciation for, like, man, y'all are pushing the bounds and making it work. Like, y'all are in here making laser beams, shit that if I would have seen in Tekken 3, I just wouldn't imagine it would have been good. Even though they had shit like fucking ogres and, shit like that. But I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't imagine that it would be able to fit into the game and not feel super crazy. Like, for some people, it feels crazy. To me, it's like, man, it's just the animation. It's just the animation, but the animation is not taking me out of the game in the way that I would have thought it might have taken me out of the game. Right? Of course, they already been prepping you up slowly. Tekken has done this a lot of the times. They prep you up real slowly for the change, which is why I guess Tekken 8 has such a strong dividing property to it, because they gave us a whole lot in a short period of time. Even though they really just gave us like the heat system, but the heat system and all the things that it comes with. For Tekken, we're not used to all that shit. All right, we're not used to changing like that. Like, Street Fighter can go from Street Fighter 2 to Street Fighter Alpha. That shit completely different. Look completely different. The junk got different kind of mechanics, different ways you could do different things. That shit go to V-ism, shit you ain't never been seen in Tekken. Different isms. That shit just doing all kind of stuff. Like, Street Fighter, Tekken, we ain't hitting them. Then you go from Alpha to damn Street Fighter 3, which ain't nothing like Alpha. You got a parry system you ain't never had before. Just all kinds of wild shit. Then you go from Street Fighter 3 to Street Fighter 4. That junk ain't nothing like Street Fighter 3. Like, Tekken ain't like that. Tekken is like, man, nigga, give me 4 new moves and some new stages, some new background music. So I can understand why people be like, man, this Tekken is wild, man. This is not even Tekken no more. Because it's got so much stuff like on that paint on the outside of the car. Imagine a car got so much new paint on the outside, you can't tell what model the car is no more. That's kind of how, but it's the same car. You know, that's what Tekken is. This junk got like you know what it is? It's like when you get a body kit, you get a body kit and put on a Honda Civic and make that junk look like a Bugatti. Like, but it's still just a Honda Civic. It's just got a whole bunch of casing on the outside. That's kind of what this is. That's what Tekken 8 reminds me of. All right. Said we had Tekken vs Street Fighter already. If we had Heat versus 7, we wouldn't cry about Demon Flip. Nah, you can cry about Demon Flip because you could only use that jump one time, and that boy could flip all day long. And you know that jump was like jumping over shit. They'd probably jump over the damn Heat burst. You know how Akuma was getting down. That boy was jumping over rage arts. Let's see. I view wanting guest characters like Goku, Tifa, etc. as just cash grabs. I can see that. But I mean, I think that would be the only reason to have guest characters, right? Like either cross promotion, which is a form of cash grab, or because we want more people to come to the game so we can get more cash. So I don't think you're wrong at that at all. Actually, I believe it's the only way that would really make sense. You said we can't get too cartoonish, can we? I mean, you get outlandish if you think it's gonna make the game better. I just believe Tekken can make anything work at this point. These folks was talking about putting Deadpool in the game. We know that fool is wild. We know he wild. And they was considering putting Deadpool in the game. Who couldn't you put in this shit at that point? Akuma made you come back to T7 when they found out he was in it. All right, see, you got to testify. Well, somebody testifying right there. They put Snake in the game. I think Snake would be dope. I think. I wonder how different. I guess he would be drastically different than damn Victor. I wonder how different he might be. Kind of like a cross between like a Victor and a damn Dragunov. That might be interesting. It might be interesting. Snake ain't it. Raid would be a better choice. Okay, these boys in there having a battle of goddamn battle of Metal Gear going on. Say Sean is low key popular. I don't know if Sean is low key popular outside of the Street Fighter 3 community. I mean, I guess some people might ask for Sean, but I ain't never seen a whole group of folks asking for Sean to be even on Street Fighter, let alone in another game. But I mean, I play Street Fighter, but I ain't heavy in the community. Maybe they love him over there. They want to see a nigga playing with balls, no pause. When it comes to Tekken characters, you would want Kazumi back with the devil mode in Heat. Oh, nah, so you trying to be cheap. Yeah, I see what you about. I see what you on. When Clive was showcased, you stopped playing this game for 3 months. No exaggerating. Listen, I still don't know nothing about no damn Clive. Like I play Clive maybe once. I run into a Clive maybe once every 3 weeks. I might run into a Clive. I got no idea what this fool be doing. And then I go learn him. And by the time he come back and I fight him again, I've been forgot everything. The aggressive nature of this game makes King down for 2-1 stronger than ever. I mean, I get that. I get that standpoint, but like I said, I think the remedy to that is just don't allow you to get no full combo. To me, I think if I guess because what you're asking is like to take the guaranteed delay off, but then you would have to give him down for like 2 into another move. I guess you wouldn't have to, because then it would be kind of like dragging off. But then I don't think people are ready for what that would entail. And because of how King's character is designed, like I just don't think they would do that. Like they would more than likely, they wouldn't do that either, because that would make the chunk a 13 frame launcher. But like they're more likely to go the route that I'm talking about than anything else. And the reason I say that is because they can't really go the Dragunov route, because King ain't never at +4 to make his 13 frame move a legit counter hit, other than when he do like super ridiculous like 4-4-2, which is like +7, or if he hits you with 4-4 neutral 2. But outside of them two scenarios, if he's not hitting you, he actually got to hit you with 4-4 neutral 2. So if he's not doing like 4-4-2, that elbow, or if he's not doing like spin around 4, which don't really make no sense, or if he ain't doing like the running Jaguar sprint clothesline, like he ain't never really in a position where down 4-2 is a useful tool as a counter hit tool in frame pressure, or like maybe the very tip of doing the knee. Y'all have to remember, like King, they want this man to throw. The whole purpose of it being guaranteed on delay is so that you don't always duck. Well, I don't really know if that's really the case. I was gonna say that you don't always duck the one every time it come out. But I think also because they want you to not be penalized for this move that don't have no hit spark and does not have a way to set up. That's would be my philosophy for why I think that they keep it in the game. But like I said, I think they're more likely to like make it not be able to give you a full combo, which I think is really people's main gripe, because it can't just be that it's a delayable 13 frame guaranteed knockdown. It can't just be that. It got to be that the combo you get off of this junk is hefty, because people got 13 frame mid combos starting hit hit confirmable moves, and people ain't asked for that junk to get. I don't know if it's 13 frames, but they got like a hit confirmable mid that's safe, I believe, or not very punishable. In any event, I see. I understand your feedback on that. This shit is cartoon and goofy. Fucking Clive. Lil Majin created a iconic combo. Yeah, Lil Majin created a lot of stuff that y'all. Well, we don't use it no more because of the get up system, but he created a lot of stuff that all the King players was using back in the day. They made something way easier in T8. Oh, you talking about the pickup combo? I got you. Yeah, mid poking to a full combo. I do see they need to. If they're gonna change something, like I said, they need to change that. What's going on? J Joe only. What's happening with your player? Said, what we doing tonight? My plan right now, we're just kind of talking, shooting the shit, talking about this stream I was on. Got a little contentious. We even got back to that. You know what happened? I started reading the chat, and the chat don't never stop. Negan was fired. This was season 1. Okay. Energies, clouds. Yeah. So you know about that jealousy. Denzel would be peak. I mean, he might be fighting this junk, but it would just be very crazy to look up and see King versus Denzel Washington. Like, it will start to get like Smash Brothers. That's what it was feeling like at one point. It's like, man, this shit about to turn into a damn Smash Brother. But it's actually going to work within the confines of the Tekken system. Somebody said they want Jet Li. Oh no, what the hell happened? I can't go up no more. Oh, there we go. Somebody said, I want Jet Li, but you got Lei. Jet Li is actually would be more like Fang Wei. I think they modeled Fang Wei more around Jet Li. Thing up. I ain't make all that damn noise. Oh no, Matt Murdock talking about he trying to see LeBron James in Tekken. That's why Matt Murdock can't see nothing. All right, that's why he blind right now. Talking about seeing LeBron James in Tekken. I don't even think we want to have them problems. Last time he was in a game got shut down. Ain't never came back up to restore in service. All right, they said the jump was gonna be a 10-year product. That thing ain't even last a year. Said or make the window a little tighter like Eddie's back 3-3. I mean that is I don't even know. I don't even think you can hit confirm Eddie's back 3-3 anymore. You could in the past, but in this game you can't even hit confirm that jump. Like that is really you just guessing. King players, hold on, see. King players just spam it till it works. Yeah, but yeah, I gotta show you how to fight this King junk, man. Because if somebody only doing down for a 2 on you all day, that junk is -6. Like y'all can't let nobody run around doing a -6 move on you all day long, and you just let them do that. Black Pharaoh, who? I don't know what you meant. Damn, you have like 15 laughing and King questions. Okay, cool. You gotta keep them in the tuck, big dog. What's going on, Matt Murdock? So we got here pretty quick. All right. Imagine Harada wanted Trump in T8. That would have been funny. That's what I'm saying. Like, I believe Tekken could put anybody in this game and make that jump work. T7 proved to me they could put anything in this game and make that jump work. And it's gonna feel like it's gonna fit in the Tekken system. Like it ain't like Goin. Like a character like Goin, even though they put him in the Tekken system, like you could see that was clearly a joke character. Like there's no way you can actually play with this motherfucker. You can't grab his ass. You can't do no highs on him. Like he just naturally cheating. Right? We can't have no shit like that. But like you talking about making a serious character that can be played, I believe Tekken could do it. So yes, you can confirm it. Try it. Bring the lab. All right, I'll try it out. Yeah, King down for 2 is a pretty linear move. It's only got tracking. Well, no, I don't know if it's completely linear. Yeah, I think it is completely linear. But you know, it does have tracking. I think it like -3. A -3, I think is hard for people. Some characters hitbox don't allow them to really get around it as well. All right, so let's get back to this right quick. We're gonna look at what ended up happening towards the end, where it got a little more contentious.
I have other parameters and boil it down to those. Your 3 pillars
remember what I said
good
to
enough
you
for you to navigate the games, but it doesn't tell the whole story.
But that's what I said to you. When you have to be specific about what you are calling Tekken. When I'm talking about Tekken, I'm talking about the system of the game. I'm not talking about how it looks. I'm not talking about new mechanics and false, old mechanics, new mechanics. Yes, those may adjust how you get rewarded. Or oh yeah, this is something else I wanted to talk about, right? This is something a concept I wanted to kind of bring out. I think I might do a crack in the code on this. Or maybe just a rant on it at some point in time. But how do you view things like frame pressure and heat engagers and heavy, harsh mix-ups? Like, how do you view that? I view that as the reward system that is separate from the functional system of the game, right? What I mean by that is like, okay, so we all know combos. This is a good way to help you understand it. When I make the right call,
In Tekken 5, I do hop kick, down forward 2-1, 1-2, running power bomb. Even though that was shit was half life back in the day, I wish they bring my boy back to glory. But anyway, let's say we understand that that is a reward, right? When Tekken 8 comes out, no, not 8, when 6 comes out, and I do a hop kick, and they've added the bound system into the game. Now my hop kick can lead into a bound, into more wall carry, into a wall combo, into Oki. The game Tekken didn't change. Like how we're playing Tekken doesn't change, right? We're still spacing, backdashing is still, 3 pillars are still intact. But my reward for guessing correctly on one of those pillars is now heightened in comparison to the game prior. Something like a rage art, right? An armor move. These are rewards to an extent to making the quote unquote right play. Now, the rage art, because it's so devastating, you only get to make this read one time, and it is do or die by the time you can make it. That's their form of balancing it out, whether you enjoy that or not. Even with the rage system in T6, like the way you play the game is not changing, but if I'm in desperation mode and I need to kill you, they reward me with the ability to hack at your health much quicker or get you up out of there in a shorter duration of time, because I don't have enough life to, especially in T6, like I probably ain't got enough life to take a down forward 1. Down forward 1-2 definitely get me up out of there. So as long as I'm willing to risk it and make the right choices, I'm getting this extra exponentially, well, I want to say exponentially, it's probably a little dramatic, but I'm getting a far higher damage count as my reward for making proper decisions. That's how I see the heat system. The heat system is you only get to the problems, quote unquote, of heat for the most part if someone is being rewarded. It's very rare. And I would even say it's never really a case. There's never really a case where heat, outside of the fact that you have it at the beginning of the match, you don't have to quote unquote earn it. There's never a situation where you're in heat and you didn't earn it. Now that might sound crazy because you could say, Mike, you could just cut that shit on. But see if you follow me with this, because maybe everybody else doesn't have this kind of thought process about the game. I do think about the game like this though. Every move I make, that means every time I backdash, every time I sidestep, every time I dash forward, anytime I just kind of walk, anytime I plan on just staying still and seeing what's going on, anytime I press a button, whether that's an attack, a stance change, a movement, built-in movement situation, any of those things that I'm doing from moment to moment are each chances that I had the opportunity to make the right or wrong choice. So if somebody goes across the screen and I decide that I want to disengage and I back up, and this person cuts on their heat, and I'm now too far away from them to punish their activation,
it is my own fault that that person, quote unquote, earned their heat because I didn't apply pressure to that person. I didn't get in a radius where it was even still a mix up for them to even cut that junk on or not cut it on. I was so far away that they stood their ground and therefore they earned that heat activation, right? For the most part, I look at heat and the things that come along with heat as a grand reward. When I get a heat engager, when I land a heat engager, it's because I chose the right option to counter hit you if I got a G-Clef cannon, right? Now, you might not like that. I'm not even necessarily the most fond of that leading to that, but, some of them shits would have led to launchers in the past. If we got Julie on this game, I hope that junk is I hope it's a heat engager and not no damn launcher. But with that being the case, and it means I made the right read on my attack. If I whiff punish you with a heat engager, I made the right read on maybe my movement was the right read. You whiffed and I punished you. Or you did a move that was unsafe. I made the right read to block it. And my reward is I punish you with this heat engager. Then I get to go into this oppressive state. And now you got to deal with stuff because you made poor decision making. You had poor decision making skills. Frame pressure works the same way. Like if I know you're backing up, you're moving back and forth, you're not doing anything to discourage me from doing slow frame advantage giving moves. Yeah, now you got to eat a mix up. Like that's my reward. My reward is, Dragunov running 2 if he had a stance. Like Dragunov running 2 into stance would be my reward for you not being willing to press no damn buttons. Right? Or I could just get a whole bunch of frame advantage, like Brian back 1, and I do that, and now you just got to eat my mix up from my natural move list that I have access to. These are rewards that you gain for doing the right thing. So maybe that's another reason when I think about the heat system, it doesn't come across to me the same way it comes across to other people. Because I think for other people, they look at it as like, this is the game. It detracts from you being able to play the actual game. And when I keep telling folks like, no, the game is the same, but your reward system has changed. I don't think I've ever really explained it like this to anybody, how I see it. And I'm curious as to like, can other people see it that way? Am I just tripping? Is there a way you think I could refine my thought process on that? Or am I giving you a new way to look at it that refines maybe the way you think about how the heat system works and the heat mechanic work and the frame pressure situations work and these 50-50s that you're in work? Because to me, it's you only get any of these things if you weren't doing the proper thing, right? I get in this particular game because of ease of access to stuff. You definitely have to make smarter choices more often. But I will say, with the way the game works, you really only think about when you're making the wrong decisions how you feel. But you're not really often, or I can't say what you, the audience, is doing, but I'll just speak for how I assume people think based off of their complaints. It doesn't seem to me that a lot of people ever think to themselves like, hey, when I get out of this bullshit, I want to be getting the maximum reward for making the right decision, as I have been doing in every Tekken, right? Why would I not be able to put you in a severe frame of pressure? why would I not be able to do my heat engager and give your ass a one-time 50-50 that you just gonna have to eat, right? It's just funny, you know, like people. It's really funny to me, like what people choose to complain about. Because if I have a move that like knock you back and you stumble and stand back up, right? People don't really have a problem with them kind of mix-ups. Them shits be like plus 14. And you standing back in my face, you can't do nothing. You can't even low parry my low kick. You might have to actually just block my low kick. People don't seem to have an issue with that. But it's just something about the fact that this person run at you and can do. Yeah, I do get the, you know, I can disregard the fact that you can go into crouch and you might have stronger full crouch mix-ups than standing mix-ups. So I can get that, but it's just interesting to me what people complain about, because it's like, man, there's stuff in the game now that's worse than what you complaining about, and there's been stuff in the game for ages that were very similar in situation or worse, and nobody ever complained about them shits. But I say all that just go back to my point. I think that maybe this is why I don't have as much of an issue with these systems. It's because I know 9 out of 10 times there was a chance that I did something wrong, and therefore now I'm dealing with this extra BS. It's almost a 10 out of 10 chance, but I'm sure there are scenarios where you just, I can't think of one right off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are scenarios where you just have to eat. I want to say that, but I just can't even think of no scenario where you just have to eat these things. You know, but that's just kind of my philosophy. Let me see what y'all talking about. Let me see what y'all talking about in here. Okay, Lavin. Basically long flow charts. I think a way to put it is, what we play is the same. The micro game we play, that is Tekken, has not changed as drastically as people make it seem. Now the things we are aiming to achieve, say full wall, carry combo, heat engage, or rage comeback, is different. We are still playing Tekken. Macro is different. Okay, I could understand that. And you know, with these kind of complaints, I'm on board with it. Like, I do think the combo length is stupid. Like, I'm looking at people do like 20 hit combos in Tekken, and it ain't because they got a rapid fire move that just do a lot of hits. Like, it's like, damn, this junk is 20 hits, and this motherfucker was doing like single hits the whole damn time. Like, this, I do think the combo carry is crazy. I do think the combo length is absurd. You know, being a Tekken player, you can't really complain about no fucking damage, because, like I said, King hop kick down forward 2-1, 1-2 to run a power bomb. That was like 5 hits. That used to take a half life bar. Tekken is notorious for having damaging combos. That's kind of the reward system of Tekken, is the combo. So I'm not really too big of I don't have too much of an issue with the damage, but them long ass wall combos, like getting full damage and a full wall carry and Oki, that's a little egregious for a mistake. But to be fair, if I really want to look at it through the developer's eyes, if you knew making particular options, like guessing a particular option that might be powerful for you, but could be option selected you knew going for that option meant you're gonna eat a 22 damage, 22 hit combo, you're gonna get taken to the wall, and you're gonna get put in an Oki situation, you might be a little more cognizant of just trying to press that issue all the time. You might want to go with the lower risk option, but might not be as beneficial, right? Just because you don't want to die, because you know what's going to happen. So I do think the developers, they thought this stuff through. Like, I think we give the developers not as much credit as they probably should have, just because we're not playing the game in the way they intend us to play it. Because the more I like wrap my mind around this, it's like, man, a lot of this stuff, it's not that it's fair. I think it could use refinement, right? Because I think there is only so far that the developer's vision can go, and then the player who has to play the game has to have some desire to be retained, right? So that is like the give and pull, the push and pull of the developer versus the player themselves, because you can't let the players dictate what they want, because none of the players want the same shit, and you just have a fucked up game. You can't just only accept what the developers give you, especially when they ask for feedback, because they may have an idea in their mind, but it may not be executing the way that they thought it was going to go off. So you definitely need that feedback from both sides. But like, the more I think about stuff, it's just like, I wonder, is this why this is like this? Is it like this because they know you have to deal with so much frame pressure? They know you have to deal with so many mix-ups because they made it more accessible for people to put you in frame pressure and mix you up, that they want the reward to be outstanding for making the right guesses. Just a concept. This concept I thought about, or maybe that's why Heat is so damn strong. It's like, when it's time for you to make the right guess, you make the right guess, and boom, you're back in the game. I think what a lot of us are having these discussions lately, it reminded me, and I said this to somebody in the comment section today, that people don't like playing optimal Tekken. Like, people probably have not even really experienced optimal Tekken. We've been playing community Tekken for quite some time. Now, you're probably going to say to yourself, Mike, what the fuck are you talking about? Damn, I be having some good topics, bro. I just be talking. This shit could be like 15 videos. Let me get my editor on it. But we've been playing community Tekken. We ain't really been playing optimal Tekken. And this is kind of why I see why not y'all, but I see why people can't grasp this concept of like having to eat a whole bunch of 50-50s all the time, and like being under this frame pressure, and because nobody really played Tekken optimally like that, unless they played with certain characters. And like I stated this in that video I put out the other day, like, people understand the concept when they got Dragunov. People understand the concept when they got Brian Fury. If you're not going to press no buttons, I'm going to make you block and eat a 50-50 afterwards. Or eat a mix-up afterwards. Right? There's going to be various things you could do, but I'm going to make you eat this. And then if you get hit by what I'm doing, oh, you really can't move. So now you about to eat some more 50-50. But I don't think we take into account, like, the same things are happening. A lot of it is more canned which I think maybe it makes it more apparent that it's happening, right? And this might be where, you know, a lot of people have an issue with like the making certain things easier because it's making them have to deal with real 50-50s, well, not 50-50s, but it's making them have to deal with real mix-up situations that anybody could do to them. And, you know, that becomes just a debate of what you think is a worthy gameplay decision or not. But I do think it's kind of interesting. I'm gonna check in the chat to see what y'all think about this, but I do think it's kind of interesting. Like if people were running around doing running threes every time they thought you was gonna backdash in any old Tekken, in some of them Tekkens, your shit was like plus 17, which is probably where they got that number for for heat engagers. I'm pretty sure that's where they got that number from. But you know, some of these damn running threes, like a Tekken 5, 3 tag. I don't know, this jump might even went as far up as 6. I don't think they really had to jump in 7 like that. But they still had super plus frame running moves, but they had other things to supplement that. And now that I think about this now it makes so much more sense to me why they put a character like Alyssa in the game. Why they put a Lars in the game. Like these long range mix, all this junk just makes so much more sense to me the more I think about the game. It's like, man, I really was one of them niggas complaining and did not understand the game. Like, I knew how to play the game on a level of psychology of how to pick my opponent apart and notice their tendencies and punish, you know, their bad interactions and poor decision making. But I'll be damned, I didn't understand Tekken all that damn time. Like T8 opened my eyes to understand, like, I just now understood what Tekken is about. Optimal Tekken is, oh, this sounds so crazy, but optimal Tekken from the developer's standpoint is Tekken 8. You don't do nothing, we're gonna frame your ass down and put you in 50-50s. Like if you took this concept instead of, okay, a great example I always use is like Kazuya's quarter circle forward 2, right? Not 2, both punches. It's a +5 mid, long range, kind of slow, you know, like 20 something frames. And you can't do nothing about down forward 2. You can't sidestep it. You can't goddamn attack them out of it. I think you could power crush them. I can't remember if you could power crush them. I think you could power crush them out of it. Maybe you could backdash it. I can't really remember, but maybe you couldn't backdash it, right? So essentially, it's very similar to doing like a running 3 in Tekken 7, where he's in your face. I don't know exactly how plus his running 3 is in Tekken 7, but like basically you're in a kind of a similar situation. You can't swing back on the down forward 2. Probably could step the hell sweep, but you can't step down forward 2. So that's covering 2 and 3 options. Maybe you could backdash it because Tekken 7's backdash mode is a little stronger. Maybe you could, depending on what the frame advantage is of the running 3. That's something we would have to go look at, try to figure that out. And then, you know, if you back up, if I know you're going to back up, in Tekken 8, I do crouch dash 1+2 again and make you be in the situation again. If I don't think you're going to do it, and I think you're going to stand there, then I mix your ass up. I give you a hell sweep. And then I got an electric that stop you from moving. It stop you from power crushing me. And it stop you from, it's got enough range to make you have to block it. And it puts me at frame advantage to mix your ass up again. Like that's not in a stance, but that effectively works like a stance. I could do the same thing on Tekken 7. I'm just gonna change out the quarter circle forward. I mean the Dragon Punch. Damn, what you call it? Crouch dash 1+2 for running 3. It's heavier execution to do. It's harder to execute, which is why people weren't doing it as often. But the more I think about it, I'm like, man, this junk really, Tekken 8 has been in our face the entire time. They just literally made it easier to do, so more people are just doing what they always wanted you to do. Yeah, the more I think about why they dumb things down, they brought up to me last night about DSS, and it made a lot of sense. Like maybe back in the day for just hardcore players, and back when Tekken was something where it was more about the passion of the project, and it wasn't necessarily about the competitive aspect of the game, right? The competitive scene was just a natural thing that occurred. You could have something like DSS in there where y'all remember Tekken 6? That junk was super cheap. I don't know if y'all remember that junk. Law was cheap as fucking Tekken 6. Because you do the DSS, cancel the junk, parry everything, right? So it's like, they took that junk out when they realized, like, oh, people want this junk to be competitive. Well, in the name of competitive integrity, that's some stupid shit. We got to take that junk up out of here. Well, we also making this game, and we recognize, like, not everybody's doing this damn shit. Like, we got the back end information, and the back end information says people are not really doing DSS cancels as much as we thought they should be. We got 1 million players. Oh, listen, we got 100,000 players. Like 400 people are doing DSS cancels. We put all this time and effort into making the damn move that nobody ain't even fucking doing. For what? So we can see a few people do this junk in a tournament? I guess, it's going to take away from their expression, but damn, like, you don't even get to play the full damn character unless you're an expert at the damn game. We don't want our game to be that. We want people to be able to mix your ass up. Let's just make this shit easier, and then so we can counterbalance this, which is somebody's bringing this point up. I think Fent brought this up last night. We're going to counterbalance that by taking away this while standing 4 into guaranteed combo starter on Tekken 7. That jump was crazy. And it's like, the more I think about it, it's like, dang, these niggas really had this shit in the game all this time. And we just weren't playing optimal Tekken. We was out here playing community ass Tekken. Like you go to the damn rec ball, not rec ball. When you play, how you play Monopoly with your family? But everybody got, you play Uno with your homies, and everybody got their own fucking rules. Y'all got community rules, house rules. We've been playing community ass Tekken because people are not out there just running wild with the running threes, forcing you to eat mix-ups, running 3, forcing you to, then making you have to sidestep, and then checking you for sidestepping all day long. That's what Tekken 8 is. It's just they confined the space and made it easier for you to have to deal with it. So now you're dealing with the shit more often when you literally could have been dealing with it just as often in the past. You just had maybe better movement around certain stuff. So, it might have been easier to step it if you knew they were going to do it. But we're talking about if they're making the right decisions. Yeah, that would be kind of like optimal Tekken. Like, and it's crazy. Like, I see it more and more clearly. This is why they put Dragunov in the game. Right? They put him in the game. I think he is the first character I can think of. I ain't gonna quote myself. You don't quote me on this because I might get to thinking and might have a different answer to this. But I'm pretty sure he was like the first person to have an actual running move. Who else had it? I don't think nobody else had an actual running move until Dragunov. That wasn't like the standard fucking low kick, sweep, or the jump kick. Did somebody else have a running move prior to that? Your king had the Shining Wizard, but that ain't the same thing. I can't think if nobody else had like a. Dang, it's so long ago, I can't really remember. But I'm really thinking about it. I can't think about if nobody had a running move from way back then. Maybe I'm overlooking something, but it seemed like to me they put him in the game, and I'm noticing now that I'm looking back, like every Tekken put some experimental shit in the game for the next Tekken that was coming up. And then from tag to 7, they gave you a whole damn game of that shit called Tekken Revolution, where they was like, man, we're gonna figure out how to get these armor moves in here. Them shits was invincible and all launch punishable, which I don't know if that'd have been better or not better. I don't know, but it is crazy how they sneak shit in there. And we be just not paying no damn attention. Not knowing we already playing the next game we about to get. That's interesting. That's interesting. Let's see what y'all in here talking about. Kuma saved Tekken. I agree with you. Okay, I think heat should be earned, so it encourages being able to win without it. Okay, I agree, because if there's no heat system, no crush, and no rage, what does this game play like? I think the additions make the game harder, skill ceiling raised, versus simpler games, which is easier. Okay. You won that discussion when you asked about the difference between +8 and +9. Landing a jab versus landing a successful heat engager. Lord says, I'm starting to understand what Namco is trying to do with the game, but one thing I don't understand is why everyone has general heat engagers instead of things tailored for specific individuals. Well, I think some characters do. Like King. King has the elbow thing, right, where he hits you at jump and you go like that, right? That's because his mix-up requires him to crouch dash into your face, and there's no real way to give you 35 frames of like frame advantage. So they had to literally do something to give you 35 frames of frame advantage so that he could do his unique transition to his mix-up, if that's what you're talking about. Are there a lot of those? I don't think so, but that's probably because most characters have like standing viable mix-ups that at -9 they could just put on you, right? I think that's probably answering your question, but let me see. I want everyone to get an install. I thought about that. I don't think installs are necessarily the worst shit. I just think maybe you need to tweak how beneficial some of this stuff is and how easy it is to get to the install. Like with Fakaram, he really only could get to his install in heat or doing that parry, or like taking the risk of doing an unsafe ass move to try to get this shit. Now, I don't know if I agree with you being able to get an install from like hitting somebody with a move in a combo, but once again, if I'm being consistent, that's just part of the reward for guessing correctly, right? If I get to knock you in the air and do a combo, my other reward to this is I could change the combo ender into something that's going to get me my install instead of maybe getting max damage, right? So I think that might could work out. Everybody getting the install, they balanced it out, right? So I can live with the heat system we have It's just a nitpick of mine to earn it. Okay, I got you. That makes sense. Kazuya is historically a defensive character, so he should have defensive heat engagers. How wrong is an aggressive character, so he should only have certain type of engagers, etc. Then both players will have a mini game. So when you say defensive, once again, I think an example would be King. Like, he has a defensive heat engager. In fact, people had defensive heat engagers, and people bitched and complained about them so much that they no longer exist. So you really don't have that no more. People probably had that. I don't think Kazuya ever started off with that. Maybe they would have gave it to him, but I think Kazuya is one of them type of characters where he, like Ryu, like, he's forever burdened with having to play the game the right way. Right? I think that's just his burden to wear. You know, that's what he's supposed to do. Fuck. Oh, why y'all ain't tell me? God damn it. Damn, I forgot to do my Duolingo, y'all. Fucking up. Good thing I bought that freeze earlier today. I just had a feeling I wasn't gonna get to it today. Anyway, yeah, so I think they did have that already. They just took it out because, you know, people complain, as people like to do, and then, you know, I do think that maybe they might go back to it if people can wrap their head around, like, the developers, the vision over their own vision. Maybe you might can get something like that, but they do have some of those. I just don't think it's as varied as maybe you might want it to be. Also, control of when you want to use the heating agent. Now, I think that is one of the I think that is one of the better ideas. It's one of the ideas I personally put out there a long time ago. Like, you should be able to control when you do your heat engager, because it's kind of fucked up if I have a full health bar, but I'm going to give both sides of it. It's fucked up if I have a full health bar and you do a death fist, and the only thing my character can punish your move with is the heat engager, which means I have to sacrifice my heat and just go into, like, heat mode and now I just got to try to kill you with heat, because as soon as my heat is over with, I'm in the disadvantaged position, you know, systematically, right? Because now you have the ability to gain health back on a whiff punish, on a punish possibly. And I no longer have that. You have the ability to go into, like, an enhanced chip state. You have the ability to go into, like, an enhanced state. You have the ability to break out my pressure when I'm on you. So I think that would be a very good addition, like making it a manual transition. I just know people gonna complain when they fuck up that manual transition and they want it to go into heat and they don't do it, but it is what it is. That's the trade-off. Weirdo trying to say all I see is a bunch of crybabies in the stats. Gotta adapt to the game changer. It's a game changer. All right. I'm not at y'all's level, but as a casual, I'm enjoying Tekken. All right. Agreed, Shrine. It's not as bad as some people make it out to be. Every character has options. Yes, I've been playing casual since T6, Tag 2, T7, and you said now you're just now adapting. I get that. It come to us when it come to us, big dog. I played 1 through 5 before I ever thought to myself, let me play this jump for real. Hold on, let me go up. Lab and King. What's King's fastest home? Did I miss this? Yeah, what's King's fastest home move? Four at 18 frames. Yeah, you might be right about that. I had to go back and think about it, but I think that is his fastest home move. Okay, I went too far up. All right, here we go. Getting bodied, still want to learn. Okay, just like Steve's uppercut, they made it easy now, so more people use it. Oh yeah, the jumping uppercut. I think that's what you're talking about. You said Harong always had 4-4-3 or 4-4-4. Okay, yeah, that's a good example. Harong always had that. That's a good example. It's a good example of somebody who always had frame pressure. Let's see. Tekken Revolution was your shit. Pay to win threw you off though. Hey, I never really played. I played jump like one time, but my homeboy Strider was telling me about how it operates. And this is another thing. I tell you, the Tekken community we do not believe in being forward thinking. Well, we do not believe in that junk at all. Wasn't Tekken Revolution a free game? And you just had to like pay like it was an arcade? Like, Harada really was on some shit. I don't know if it was Harada's idea or Murray's idea or Nakatsu's idea. But like, I know at the time, we probably all was broke as hell. And we don't want this shit to go till, what it ended up becoming anyway is a shop and stuff like that, monetized. But man, like these niggas already had the free to play model right in front of us. Niggas just, it couldn't see the forest because of the trees. Like, I don't think that would be the perfect way to make no Tekken, but like that is such a novel concept of like a virtual arcade experience. I don't know how well Tekken Revolution did. I guess it did well enough. They made Tekken 7, but like just that concept to me it's a very interesting concept. I don't know how well it went over with the community because obviously it's not still here, so it wasn't the best idea, I guess. But I wasn't playing it back that time. But it was interesting. Oh, you said, oh, that's regular running. No, but he does have 4-4-3, I think. But he got to be in the other stance for that to be. He got to do that. Other stance. Yeah. Oh, what I'm saying is, if I'm playing stance heavy character, I should only have stance engagers. Oh, okay. But the majority of the cast has a 12 or 13 frame Punisher mix. Okay, now from what you're saying there, I think it's because you want this junk to be accessible to all people, kind of not fairly evenly, but kind of evenly. And why I would say that is like, let's say Xiao Yu only had heat engagers out of Art of Phoenix. Like, what move you gonna make the heat engager? And then, like, how strong are you gonna make the mix-ups so I get hit by the heat engager? Right? And then at that point, is the heat engager even the best option to go for? When my better mix-up might be the launcher. Like, I think in them scenarios, it would be kind of difficult to it'd be kind of difficult to evenly distribute that. But they do have, even that they still have, like King, Armor King from a crouch grab. Most people who have crouch grabs, they get heat engagers from the crouch grab. Because that's a specialty of like their grabbing game. I think the idea is like we want to give you kind of my bad, y'all. About to knock out in a second. They want to kind of give you a little bit of variety. Right? Like maybe you might got a heat engager that's
based upon your specialty. You might have a heat engager based upon punishment, and then you might have a heat engager based upon, like, I don't know, mix-ups, right? I think that's kind of, if I start observing heat engagers, it's kind of what I kind of see is going on. Because you got punishment for King is he can crouch grab low moves that leave a person crouching, as long as it's minus 12 or greater, right? So that's his punishment and unique. Well, it's unique because he's a grappler. His actual unique one is his armor, because he has his armor into the elbow. That's his unique. He don't have. Oh, and then his punishment one is 4-2-1, right? So he has one that's. Oh, he got two punishment ones. He's got his crouch grab one. He's got his other punishment, bow. Then he has his unique, which is his armor into the bullshit, right? I have to really look through other people's armor moves, not armor, but heat engages to kind of see if that's like a correlating thing that runs all throughout. But I do get what you're saying. I think it's kind of weaved in there, but not like the totality that I think you're looking for it to be weaved into the game. You said offer different heat style between characters, offer dynamic situations. Said no, the one from the duck in. Oh, okay, the big uppercut. Okay, I got you. What's going on with your Trey Tristleton? Hold on. Did I miss something? Oh, okay, no, then I'm already down here to the bottom. Okay. Offer a different heat style. Okay. Also high. It was free, but you can pay for stronger moves. I don't remember exactly what it was. Okay, so yeah, you had power ups and shit in the damn game. I do remember somebody telling me about that too. Like you could buy like 5 life bars or some shit. They said people was hacking the game. They had 5 life bars and 1 hit kills. So okay, I can understand why that might be a little too wild for the streets. But like just the concept of like an online arcade, I think that's interesting. But that's also because I come from the arcade era, so I don't think that would bode over too well with folks on Twitter right now. They might be tripping. No, man, you're making us pay per game. What kind of system is this? Why do I pay the 25 cents to play every time I want to play? This is sucking my pockets dry. Yeah, I mean, you might be right, nigga, but no, you wouldn't have been no fun back in the day, nigga. You'd have been sitting at the house, watch me play the game. You watch me come in the door talking about how much I was having fun at damn underground Atlanta. But listen, we didn't even get through all of this damn. We didn't even get nowhere near through all of this damn. What you call it? Stream. But we had interesting talk. Interesting talk. Just being here talking to y'all helped me kind of even look at the game even more different. This is what I'm doing most of the time when I'm just out here and I'm in the practice mode. The way I'm conversing with you all right now, I'm looking like 2 foot tall. We can't right. The way I'm conversing with you all right now, this is the same way like I'm in the lab looking at the game. So this is why I have maybe such a drastic opinion from how other people perceive the game, because I'm looking at it this depth, this in depth. I really want to understand what the developers are trying to get us to do. Sometimes that lets me say, when are you streaming again? I'm gonna go out of town this week. I might be back Sunday for Sunday service, so I'll probably be back for that. Maybe I'll take my laptop and might stream a little bit, but it's gonna probably be super janky if I try to do that. But we'll see. But I'll be back Sunday, so we'll probably get a stream in on Sunday. But I hope maybe I've expanded your mind a little bit about this game. give you a different way to look at it. You know, you can still think the game is ass. That is still perfectly within the realm of reason, if that's how you feel about it. But you know, like I said, I just like to offer you a different perspective and try to help you get into the mind that is about crazy up here, Jumble Brain Mike. And it's interesting because some of this stuff don't even necessarily make you better. It just gives you a better understanding, which in turn will kind of make you better if you understand what's going on, right? You understand the principles behind stuff. It ain't gonna make your reaction time no better. You know, you gotta go outside and figure out some other kind of way to make your reaction time a little better. But you know, I think it does help with the game overall when you understand the game. When you understand what the idea is of the game, it's a lot easier for you to not be stressed out by certain occurrences that you don't understand, right? That's how I managed to keep calm and, you know, kind of just, you know, accept stuff, you know. And like I said, that's not to mean you just accept whatever. Like, you don't have to take slop if they hand you slop. But at least investigate if it's slop before you decide it's slop, right? You know, if I give you a garbage bag, and I say, hey, this is yours from me, you might not want to just throw the garbage bag into the trash. It could be full of money. Now, if it stink, you might want to throw that motherfucker away. Yo, right off the rip, that junk stink, throw it about away. But this ain't that kind of situation. Appreciate y'all coming out, man. Let me see if I can find somebody for y'all to kick it with. Hope y'all enjoyed yourself out here tonight. Hope it was informative. Another one of these talking streams. Maybe y'all learned something. And I could chop it up. Y'all can go back and check it out. Let me get to the raid. My boy Matt Panther. I didn't even say what's up, my boy Matt Panther. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, Jealous. Appreciate you coming out and kicking it with me, big dog. Okay, we can send y'all over there. Damn. Oh, my boy, goddamn. War is in the building? That's what I'm talking about. Folks is back on this shit. That's what I'm talking about. I would send y'all over there to my boy Chop. Y'all wanna watch him play some Art Raiders? Send y'all over there to my boy Chop. Alright, y'all. Till next time. Y'all know what it is. Realm of the real, only the real can chill. Peace.